It is time, once again, to lock your doors, shut your windows, strap yourself into your favorite comfy chair, and tune out and tune into The Naked Zombie.
Hello and welcome to another fantastic episode of Naked Zombie Radio. I am your host, as always, Brad Scott, and tonight I am very happy to announce that I have a fantastic group on all the way from New South Wales. I hope that's correct, otherwise they'll be throwing rocks at me later. I have the wonderful Anne Rzechowicz and assorted Robert Coble from Eastern States Paranormal. G'day guys, how are you both?
We're doing well. How are you?
Good. I'm having a hard time. No, I'm not. I'm having a good time. It's all going good. Yes, I'll just explain.
Gremlins in the system tonight, I think.
Oh, gremlins! I'll tell you what. I'll just explain quickly. I spent hours fixing up the system tonight because nothing was working.
It's very interesting from our end at the moment.
and it sounded like I was trying to crawl through your phone line earlier too. So it's been absolute bugger to get this happening tonight. But I'm so stoked to have you both on the show. Now I'll just give the audience out there a bit of a rundown on Eastern States Paranormal. Now, Robert and Anne also have another team member, the name of Dean, who was a resident psychic. Is that correct?
That's correct. He is our psychic.
And you've also got Kaz, who's a psychic as well. Then
Kaz is also a psychic, and both of those guys work at Quarantine Station in Manly as the tour guides on the ghost tours that they have there.
Oh, that's wonderful. And also you have Graham and Simone, is it?
Yeah.
Excellent. No, so you pretty much got a full team, haven't you guys?
Yeah, well, varying levels of experience, and we all bring something different to the team, plus a bit of fun.
Oh, of course, it's a bit of fun, and this is the thing. I'll just read from what I gather about your group, because I have been checking you out, like I check out most of my guests for some strange reason. All right, basically, now from what I understand, what you stand for is that you're a non-profit group. You investigate because you have a passion for it and you want to learn more, of course. You don't claim to be the best or the most knowledgeable group, and you have stated that, but you're always willing to learn off others as well, which is fantastic. Now, the biggest thing is that you work together, you've got a great team, there's no egos, everyone pitches in together, and you're always interested in assisting others as well, aren't you? That's part of your basic who Eastern States Paranormal is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. And the other thing that's really important to us as well is honesty.
Yep.
If somebody's annoying someone else, tell them rather than just simmer and stew on it. Get it out there, get it sorted, and then we're all happy.
Oh, that's wonderful. That is so good to hear. I mean, and as you know, and I've probably been on some other groups out there, at times sometimes you've got to bite your tongue with other teammates and stuff like that because you're just about ready to take a long drive off a short cliff, as it were. Now, guys, the main reason I got you on the show tonight, that you've been quite active lately, haven't you? There's been a lot of stuff happening within Eastern States Paranormal. Now, recently, didn't you guys do a local TV stint at a basketball course? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Oh, we've got to hear all about it. So what? Okay, start from the beginning. How did this all come about for you guys?
All right. Well, we did a private investigation for a lady. We actually did it twice when she moved twice. Mm-hmm. And she saw that a friend of hers that runs the stadium had mentioned they had this footage of a door opening unexplainedly, if that is a word. And she said, "Oh, look, I know the guys that can come and sort this out for you." So she gave them our phone number. And next minute we got the phone call saying, "Oh, look, you were recommended to us. Would you like to come and investigate?" And that's how we ended up there.
So you got a privilege to go. Now, what was the story behind this place, the actual stadium? Why was this place considered having paranormal activity? Did something happen there a while ago? Was it buried on something? Or what's the story behind that?
Okay, what I think everyone had a few little sort of funny feelings about what was going on, but the big thing was the door, wasn't it, Rob?
A lot of the people, a lot of the girls go in the shower and they've always felt watched. People there at night time would always feel a bit eerie and being stared down kind of thing, and plus the doors.
You can actually look up on YouTube. I think it's Haunted Newcastle Basketball Stadium on YouTube, and you can see the clip where one of the fire doors just springs open. I think it was around about 10 to 8 in the morning. I mean, we tried to debunk it as best we could, but by the time we got there, they'd actually replaced the door hinges and things like that. I did get to see the original ones, and it was actually quite difficult to close the door without it. If it wasn't pulled shut completely, it popped open very easily, and it was quite complicated because there was a bar somebody had welded over the main thing to make sure it all held shut.
Mm-hmm.
So you had to really pull it shut. We got out like the Google Maps and had a look at the alleys behind it to see how the sun would fall on it, to see if maybe the sun had hit it and maybe that warmed things up and make the door spring open. But the alleyway's too small, not much sunlight down there. And we also checked the wind and things like that on the day. It was a very calm day. The footage is quite far away, so that makes it difficult for us to really debunk it thoroughly, but we didn't come up with any explanations for how it happened.
Okay, just on that, when you were actually looking, or you went and had a look at this door, now, we've got to explain the fire door a bit better for the listeners. Now, they've got several types. Now, was this the one that had the bar that went across, you had to push down to open?
Yeah, the panic bar. So
the panic bar, so it's actually had the panic bar on there. They don't just pop open on their own.
I think it'd be open from the inside.
Really? And there was no one there on the opposite side. So this was a footage taken from the outside? And the doors opened?
Look in the alleyway, and there was nothing there that... Yeah, because it's completely...
Hello? I've lost you now, guys, but that's all right. We'll get you back.
Yeah, well, there you are.
No, it's right. You're back again now. Thank you for that. So it's right. You might have leaned it. So guys, you have to excuse us tonight because we have had nothing but grief with phone lines and Skype and all the good stuff that goes with it. But you're back again. So if you cut out, we'll just continue with the story. So basically, the footage was taken from outside, and from the alleyway, the door opened up. Is that correct?
Yeah. From what we can see, the side of the door that opened.
Yep.
First was not the door, not the part that would normally open first. It was on the opposite side, because you know how there's a lip on a door that one sits inside the other. The opposite side got pushed first, from what we can see of the footage. Okay.
Now, when you go and investigate, did you go and did the EVP sessions and all that? I know you had a film crew there as well, which was the local news.
Yeah, they came in about 7:30 in the morning.
8:30 in the morning.
8:30 in the morning.
They stayed till then?
No, they only arrived at the very end, and we were trying to stay awake and sound sensible.
You're kidding. Goodness me, getting in the best time, don't they? I had a similar thing happen to me in New Zealand, but it wasn't too bad. At least they came out at the start of it and hanged around for at least 15 minutes when all the action was not happening. But that's so okay. So they come in. I noticed in some of the photos, especially around the equipment too, that you got the cell sensor sitting on. Okay, if people listen to the show, I have to explain what some of this equipment is. You had a cell sensor, which is like an EMF detector with the lead and a little button on the end of it, and it flashes up red and stuff. You had that near the ball, actually one of the basketballs. Were you trying to entice some sort of activity around the equipment, so to speak, use it as a trigger object?
Yeah, so that was the idea, because when we got in there, we actually found that our lights from the CCTV system simply didn't cope with the vast space that the basketball stadium was, because it actually used to be an aircraft hangar. So our little lights, even with Rob's massive big lights that he's got, it just couldn't illuminate the area. And we thought, well, rather than waste it, we'll set up trigger objects in various parts of the stadium to try and catch some sort of activity that way.
Okay, so you set up the trigger objects, you got all the equipment surrounding it. Now, you said it was an old aircraft hangar, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so was there any sort of recording activity when it was an aircraft hangar? So how old was the actual building itself?
It had actually been built onto. It was the aircraft hangar was over one side, and they've built buildings on around the side of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think it was back in 19. Geez, trying to think of the dates we're given and what we researched. I think it was about 1940s, I believe.
So this would have been through the Second World War. It was used for manufacturing aircraft or something like that, or just for storage?
It actually used to be the Newcastle Aero Club, from what we can work out.
Okay.
The runway actually used to be on, which is near Marathon Stadium for anyone who follows the football where the Knights play.
Yep.
That's quite near where that stadium is, and they had the runway and everything there.
So that makes it quite interesting again, doesn't it? Because here you've got this old basketball court, which is technically a, there's an airframe hangar. Was there any reported, deaths or anything like that involved around that building at all when you sort of looked into it?
Not with the actual aircraft thing. We did find some reports connected to the basketball stadium. What was the one you found, Rob?
The one I found, there was a referee that lived in Perth, and he was refereeing a competition that they had on at the time at the stadium.
Yep.
And he was actually staying at some town close by. He went to get the train, but was murdered on the way home from the actual stadium itself.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And the train station is very close to the basketball stadium.
Well, they reckon that a lot of you probably guys know this, a lot of hauntings that take place may not necessarily have happened in that particular building, but that from area surrounding. They may have had an attachment to that area or anything. Did you ever? So I understand, and from your point of view, you studied the mediumship side of things. And yeah, no, that's good. You know, I'm all for that. And
I actually found that I had the psychic ability of a brick. So
I know some pretty psychic bricks. Seriously, there's this Besser block up the road that's just is phenomenal. Sorry.
Honesty is an important part of life. So I decided I still wanted to get my thrill from the paranormal field, and I didn't know that these shows existed probably until a couple of years ago, and I was in America and I saw these shows with the ghost adventures and ghost hunters, and they had gadgets with batteries, and I thought, yay, I found my place in life.
I mean, look, and this is for people who are sensitive out there, and I know there's a lot of listeners who do go through this, who do struggle with recognising that they have this ability, and it's very understandable. And when you come across and you don't know what's going on, but you're picking up on certain things, sometimes it's nice to have that little bit of electronic information then with you. Said, yeah, okay, yeah, I understand why I'm experiencing this or something like. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
Gives you a bit of bloody comfort there at some stages. Now, just talk about Dean and say, hey, I better say hello to Dean. Look, hi Dean, sorry you couldn't make it, mate, but I hope you enjoy in LA and you lucky bugger. Yes, I'm stuck in my little cardboard box. I'm not allowed out in the street. Dean. Now, Dean was there for the investigation as well, wasn't he?
He actually finished doing a tour at Quarantine Station around about 11:30 that night, jumped in the car with another one of the tour guides from Q, and this is a different girl, Lauren, who was a guest for the night, and they drove to Newcastle after working and got to us around about 3 o'clock in the morning.
Now, that's commitment.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. That is brilliant. That is commitment. I've done a few all-nighters myself. I've done a lot of travelling, but that is really, really good commitment. Now, Dean being the psychic of the group, as I'll put it, did he pick up on anything, like on anybody that may have been there that was causing this stuff to happen? Yeah, but when Dean was doing it, was he picking up anything?
Yeah, he had the dream about an explosion or somebody getting and had actually sort of asked me, did we know of any explosions or anything like that in the building? And unfortunately, we couldn't find anything.
Yep.
came in is we split them up and we took them separately through the building to get their viewpoints on what they found in the building, so that they wouldn't influence each other.
So I'd say, what you're basically saying is Dean and was it Kaz with you as well?
No, that was Lauren that time.
Oh, Lauren. Okay, Lauren. So you had Dean and Lauren go through, and you separated them to basically go to different times and see if they picked up similar things.
Yeah.
And how did that go? Were they pretty much on the money with each other and what they picked up on?
Well,
bit of a tough question, I know. I asked the tough questions.
They did. Lauren came up with the aeroplanes in there, and also the death of a girl on one of the courts, which actually did happen, which was back in the 80s. But, we're very suspicious, Rob and I. I'm not sure whether they might have talked about some of this before they got there, and I can't help but wonder if that may influence them. We're the biggest sceptics there are.
No, good. I mean, healthy skepticism is always a good thing in this field, and you've got to have a bit of, right, okay, sunshine, yeah. No, that's...
They're very important tool in our investigation. No, I'm not calling them a tool.
No, I understand you. They're just another aspect to the paranormal that people do or don't use.
Say is hearsay until we can back it up with evidence.
Yeah. No, that's very good. I mean, look, folks out there, if you listen, look, there is nothing wrong at all having two sides of the paranormal argument in a team. I think it's great that you've actually taken that side as well, where you've got. Not only do you have the technical side, I mean, there are some groups out there that are purely scientific, and that's all they do is scientific, and then you've got other groups that are purely the psychic side of it, and that's all they are, just psychics and mediums and the rest of it. But to have that mixture between the science and the spiritual, it must be hard at times to find that, common place within the group in that sense, because you got someone saying, hey, listen, I feel someone's here, yada, 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 but you're going, but my equipment is saying it's over here, but you seem to work it out between you very well. Have there been other cases recently that you've done that had the same effect?
Yes, there is actually at the orphanage.
Oh, orphanage, that sounds interesting. So what actually, give us the premises of the orphanage. What sort of happened there?
At the orphanage, we found that it was owned by the Platt family back in the early 1900s.
Yep.
And after the Platt family, it was brought by turned into an Argyle house, which had children there as well.
Yep.
And then turned into the Murray Dwyer Boys for Home for Boys.
Yep.
And I went there one night just to see what it was like. There's nothing left there at all. All the building's been torn down, but you still see the foundations. Mm-hmm. And I went there one night, didn't pick up anything at all. Not one EVP, not one spike on equipment, nothing. And then I got a phone call from my mum the next morning and said, there's the orphanages around where you are. And I went, wow, I just went to an orphanage last night. Mm-hmm. And Mum gave us a couple of names, which was Amy and Thomas. So we worked off that. And we got some brilliant EVPs. They started talking to us, and it's just unbelievable.
So I think the best one we got was that Rob and I went up there, and I think I was saying, Rob was saying, we'd really like to speak to Thomas, and he paused, and before he could say, and Amy, we actually got an EVP of a male voice going, Amy.
Oh, really?
So we thought that was pretty cool.
Well, don't you hate when they call out your name? They know who you are. I find that very disturbing.
And that's where what the psychic has given us information has been backed up by some evidence.
Well, that's right, and that's a fantastic way of looking at it. I mean, look, don't get me wrong. I've seen some real characters within my time, psychics as well as people who aren't psychic. But I remember I had this one lady. She was crawling around all over the floor. She was touching walls, and there's a body buried under here, and all the rest. I'm going, really? And I started drip feeding her a bit of information, like I was just making it up as I was going along because I was a bit of a twat. And so I'm feeding this information. Oh, yeah, she's pregnant with child and all this. And I go, well, was she pregnant? Yeah, she was definitely pregnant and child. And I said, well, she was about 16? Yeah, she was young, 16-ish, 15, 16. So this went on for quite some time. And then I gave her a funny look. She said, oh, I can't do it now. You're blocking me. So I had that.
Sorry, Rob's just trying to scribble a note to me, and I cannot read what he is writing.
That's all right, but you do get it no matter where you go.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
it's good to see that you keep it on a nice even playing field between you. Now,
yeah, and I mean at that particular location, Dean also came up with the same information that Robert's mother had come up with, but he had heard none of what Sally had told us. So once again, we had two psychics giving us identical stories, not knowing what the other had said, and we really like that sort of evidence.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's really good. So far as your EVPs and stuff like that you guys have collected in your time, I love EVPs. I think EVPs are just the greatest thing on the planet. I have so much recording gear, it's not funny. And I don't do it in my own home, to be honest with you, because I just don't want to know what's here.
Neither do I, actually. I don't use my... My family, if they're here, that they're welcome to stay in my front music room, but to leave the rest of the rooms alone.
No, that's right. I mean, I just want to stay out of the bathroom. That's all my concern is. Now, what we're going to go on with, guys. Now, Robert, I just want to touch base on something, mate, with you. Now, you actually are putting a shop together, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm trying to. It's Go Shack, and I've been trying to get it to this stage where it is now. It's been a dream for the last year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah.
And hopefully, after all this reviewing that we have from last week, it'll launch mid-next week, hopefully.
Well, you heard it first on Naked Zombie, I hope, that Go Shack is coming to Australia. I mean, this is fantastic. Our very own source of equipment for the paranormal hunter here in Australia, because if you guys know what I know when it comes to buying equipment, it can cost a lot of money, especially from overseas, by the time you put in your postage and everything, and you try and pick up an Ovilus or something like that, and you are paying huge amount of money for over on eBay.
Why I'm trying to make Go Shack as it is. I was really sick of waiting 3 or 4 weeks for equipment. Postage on 2 items, like a camera or a K2 meter, was like $180 postage from the US.
Oh, that's right. And nothing wrong with that, but I mean, if you want to pay for it, great. So, Rob, just quickly, and we'll get back onto the story in a minute, because I really want to give this a good plug tonight, because all the people listening, especially in Australia, will go, oh, that's wonderful. Finally, we can pick up something. Can you give us a quick rundown of what you're actually going to be supplying in your shop, mate?
I'm going to be supplying most of the millimeters, RAM pods, RT EVP equipment, trying to get lasers in, trying to get CCTV systems in, IR lights. I'm actually looking for people in Australia that invent and create equipment here. I've already got a great guy on board from Apparition Technologies.
Oh, Jason, yes, he does. Does he do the, what I've seen him doing is really cool. It's the EMF pump?
Yeah, he makes the EM pumps.
That's it, EM pump, not EMF. EM pump, yeah.
Yep, illuminators, vibration detectors. He's just made himself a shadow detection device as well. Really?
Wow.
Yeah, the guy is absolutely a genius.
And what's this guy's name?
Jason.
Oh, Jason. So if you're listening, Jason, well done. It's good to see an Aussie inventor. Now, so next week, we're looking at the shop opening up. So what I'm going to do, if you folks are listening to this, I'm actually going to put a link to the shop underneath this episode tonight. So if you want to go across there, and if anyone has any questions, Robert, they can contact you. If you can try and get something in for them as well, mate. Can they do that?
Yeah, over Facebook is a great place. Send me a message and stuff like that, and I'll get back to you what I have in stock at the moment, or if I don't have it in stock, I'll get it in for you, not a problem.
So now, how do people pay for this? Via credit card, PayPal?
It's going to be a proper online store. It's going to be an e-cart, so it'll be paid you can use your credit card, debit card over PayPal, but it'll be through the web store itself.
Now, if you see my name come up, right, you're not to
You wait
tell
for it,
the
you-
wife, right? Just between you, put it down as exotic massage or something on the receipt. Then I won't get in trouble. If you know, wink, wink, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? I spend far too much money on toys, and at least I can probably get away with that.
No problem.
No problem. See, I like this man, yeah. What's this exotic massage? I went and got one, honey. Is that a new EMF detector? I said, no. God, no, I've had it for years. Trust me. We've all been down that road at some stage. So that's wonderful. So what I'm going to do, and what's the name of the company again, Robert? It's Ghost Shack?
Go Shack, yep.
Go Shack. There you go, folks. Listen now, the big bad world of the zombie. If you want to pick yourself up, especially in Australia, sounds like some really good stuff, especially in the ghost hunting equipment supplies. Please get in touch with Robert. This is not a paid advertisement at all. I'm just really stoked to hear that there is someone actually setting up a good store here in Australia for us Aussies that we can buy stuff from. So well done to you, Robert. Good on you, mate.
Cheers, mate. If there's any inventors out there that want to get in contact with me, please do. It'll be awesome to get more on board.
Yeah, look, mate, all the vendors and better. Look, I can't. I'm useless. Seriously, the only thing I can do is talk with a mouthful of wet cement. What I've also got is, and do you want to give the website a bit of a plug as well too, mate, while we're here? Because I think it's important that we talk about what you guys do, but you got a lot of stuff on your website. I've just been clicking through it and have a look at it. You also put a lot of the ghost tours on there for other companies as well, don't you?
Yeah, we try to support everyone in the community that's out there trying to promote the paranormal field in a positive way. So if we hear about some good ghost tours that are going on, we'll certainly put the link up there. Dean's done a lot of the work on the website, so we've got him to thank for that.
Mm-hmm. No, the website looks very good, actually. I'm quite impressed with it. It looks really good. And what's the website address there, Anne?
It's easternstatesparanormal.com.au.
And you can put a www in front of it if you want. I mean, that's fine. Or http:// something. So it's East...
Dub.
Eastern State Paranormal. Well worth checking out the website, guys. Now, we're going to backtrack a bit while we're doing this, because I'm really sort of interested in both you guys. And how did this start for you? How did yourselves... What were your experiences when you first said, no, bugger it, I'm going to become a paranormal investigator? There must have been some point in your life that you just woke up and went, cool, this is what I'm going to do. And can you sort of break that down for our listeners, guys?
All right, well, mine started many years ago, actually, with a friend who was a psychic. And we had a mutual friend who was having issues with the house. So we're having... objects being thrown, doors rattling off their hinges almost, family pictures being smashed, and he volunteered to go into the house to try and work out what was going on. So he made contact with this particular entity, and it has been someone who had been following the lady since she was a child, and had suddenly decided that he didn't like the family, and he wanted her for himself. And he explained to me that he was going to channel the entity, and that means let the spirit speak through him.
Yep.
And I had to talk to this character to convince it to leave. And I was sort of like, oh, okay. I don't really have any experience in this, but I'll give it a go.
Yeah.
So I did, and I just followed by instinct what came into my head and spoke to it through him, and it actually left. I mean, the room got really, really freezing cold, and I knew nothing about the paranormal field at this stage. And we had the steam coming out of our breath, and you felt when it left, the whole room just changed in its atmosphere, and it went. The smell went, everything went. So, and I suddenly went, ooh.
So did you sort of notice, like, after this event, you would know it's a pretty major change in the whole atmosphere of the house too, isn't it?
Yeah. And I thought, wow, we can really help people with that sort of thing. And that's when I started to do these classes and try to learn more. And that was in my early 20s. And getting on now. I'm 47 this week.
That's all right. We won't call you wrinkles.
And,
It's okay.
Yeah, I've been learning bits and pieces, and then I had children, so I sort of had to put things off for a while, and then came back to it. And after coming back from America and seeing all those shows, that's when I was inspired to start again in earnest. And I wondered if there was anything out there, and I actually put into Google sort of ghost hunting in Newcastle or something like that, and it came up with Boo Paranormal, which is a team here in Newcastle. Hello, Angela. So, yeah, I sort of made contact with them, and they very kindly took me out. And then I met up with another lady on a ghost tour that I found out about. And, yeah, so I found out that there was a community here right in Newcastle.
And it's an awesome community too, and that's the thing about it. And you got to meet these people doing different things. Now, so so this happened in your early 20s, I take it, all this sort of...
Well, the very initial things, I mean, as a child I also had experiences. I saw things, and I used to call it the hooker naughty, and it used to make the bed bounce. And
Okay, the hooker naughty. I've never heard it being called that before. I've heard it being called the horizontal spastic monkey dance. But not the hooker naughty. So okay, I've got to ask, and I shouldn't, but I will. What, because the bed was bouncing up and down, it was called the hooker naughty.
I was only 4 or 5 at the time.
How does a 4 or 5-year-old know about hookers and that they get up to naughty? I mean, this is no. I'm more interested about the hooker naughty story now. I'm sorry. No, seriously. So you actually had experience where the bed was bouncing up and down, so to speak.
Yeah, and this shadowy thing flew out from under the bed and out through the window. And it used to happen all the time at my grandparents' place at Stockton. And now I look back at it, I think it might have been something actually to do with the Aboriginal culture.
Oh, okay. Just the Indigenous Australian side of things.
Yeah. And I think that maybe that's what I was seeing as something that was part of their culture, and I just didn't understand. And, of course, when the parents came in and turned on the lights, there was never anything there.
No, I still can't work out how a 4-year-old works out what a hooker is. I'm sorry, that's a bigger paranormal mystery than the bed jumping up and down. What I need to know is, apart from the whole bed jumping up now, so the bed was physically being shaken up and down. Is that what you're saying? Now, did you mention it to your grandparents at all? This was a common event to them. What did they say?
I was asleep and I must have just dreamt it.
Dreamt it?
Yeah, it's a typical thing where a child will report something like that, and most adults will brush it off as not being anything because they don't want to face what it might be.
Yep.
Because children are so open to seeing what we block off.
Oh, that's right, innocence. Yeah, it's that whole thing of they're not old and cynical like us. Oh, sorry, like myself, sorry.
Yeah, the cranky old lady here.
Yeah. No, but this is the thing. So, I mean, this is very interesting. See, we're going back further into your early memories of your first experiences. Why? So, having the bed jump, didn't that scare the bugger out of you as a kid?
Oh, absolutely. That's why I was screaming like a banshee.
Like a banshee. That's where she gets the hooker naughty from. Right.
I got him a good one the other night. He knows I'm loud.
Oh, no. Oh, we've crossed that line already.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all right. So, on other news. Oh, God, I'm going to have to stop now. Okay, Robert, we're going to change the subject very quickly, mate, because obviously Anne is into hooker naughties and banshees and screaming. That's another show in itself, probably for later on at night. Robert, with yourself, mate, when you first started off doing the paranormal side of it, what happened to you to make you decide you want to do this, mate, at the end of the day?
Going back to when I was about 8 or 9 years old.
Yep.
Used to live at Rudy Hill, and just at this little town out of Sydney. And being watched and getting cold chills and all that kind of stuff, and then seeing my brother, because we had to share a room together when we were younger. Yep. And seeing my brother cowering under his blanket, staring at the doorway, saying there's a little boy in our house. Mm-hmm. Who Mum actually sitting on the couch talking to someone and putting her arm around someone. it made me start to think. But I was really freaked out until probably about 3 years ago. That's when I started becoming really more interested in the paranormal.
Yep. So you started a little bit later on. So you had the experiences from a very early age.
Yes.
So as you were growing up, you and your brother were both, well, your brother was saying that. Did you actually witness the same thing in the room, mate, having that little fella standing in your room?
No, I actually never saw him at all, but we'd always get blamed for keys going missing, money going missing, jewelry going missing, and being found in weird places, like up in the manhole. The manhole would be moved. They would nail it down. The next morning it would be moved again. Wow.
How does that's amazing, isn't it? You think that you actually spend the time nailing something like that down so it doesn't move, and then it moves. I mean, that's sounds like almost poltergeist activity, mate, especially when stuff goes. And this is a good point for the listeners out there who may be having the same thing where, like you said before, Robert, like, I know people misplace stuff, mate, but when you misplace it and you find it in odd locations,
that's right.
That's very mischievous, isn't it? It's something like a kid would do.
Yeah, Mum would find, like, money in the dryer out in the laundry, which is a part added on outside the house. And in the manhole, she'll find a diamond ring that Dad gave her for engagement. And, us kids being young couldn't get a heavy old wooden ladder up to the manhole,
Yep.
And we're getting blamed for things.
Oh, nothing like the good old-fashioned thong across the back of the legs, is it? Did you ever Mum give you those? The good old thong across the back of the legs?
Sorry, mate, I didn't hear that.
Oh, sorry, mate. Did your mother ever give you, she pull off her handles? I was calling them a thong, then I realised that thongs mean different things in different countries. You've gone for that period there where you sort of brushed it aside, you weren't interested in it, or whatever reasons you had. What made you decide, hang on, this is a path I should be taking, mate?
I think it was actually sitting down with Mum and talking to her about, what is a spirit? Are they here to frighten us? Are they here to scare us? Are they here to cause damage? And the conversation I had with Mum, it's like she said to me, no, they're actually here. They might have a message, or they're not actually there to scare you. You might get the, she always said, if you're not evil, but an angry person in life, you could still hear in death angry, and that's when you get the bad feelings in home sometimes, just that energy.
Oh, look.
But, I think with sitting down with her and just explaining to me a lot more how to communicate with them and understand a lot more about the spirit, then it made me want to jump into the hot seat and say, look, I really want to find out what my mum sees, basically.
So just a quick question. I ask this a lot of groups. When you do go and investigate, as you got older and you went out and investigate, did you find over your time that your technique changed and your understanding changed? The way you did things you don't do now, things you used to do that you wouldn't do now, has there been much of that?
Yeah, being aggressive, I think that I don't like to do that. At first I thought it might be really cool to try and aggravate them, but then I thought, if they're frustrated because they're stuck here, what good is it going to do them with me jumping up and down and yelling and calling them names and trying to provoke them to say something? I mean, if somebody did that to me, I'd just say, piss off.
Well, basically, and you are allowed to swear on my show because I own it. So go right ahead and say many naughty words as you want, within reason.
What about you, Rob?
No naughty words from Rob, though. I mean, I'll just get kicked off the air.
Yeah, no, I think we've found that we get a lot of EVPs and a fairly good response, and I think it's because we show respect.
Yep. I mean, that's half. Yeah, sorry, you're right. Keep going.
We treat them the way we'd hope to be treated ourselves. And, I mean, if we do get an EVP that's telling us to F off, then I actually say, look, that's not real nice. We're speaking to you nicely. I don't think there's any need to speak to us like that. And I reprimand them.
Do you find that a lot of the TV shows, there's some TV shows that still use a lot of provoking that you've seen, or do you reckon they're slowly changing as well as they mature as well?
I think it's changing a lot. Like from watching Ghost Adventures like many years ago, and seeing Zach do anything he wanted to do, but I think something must have happened to him.
Yep.
To change his mind, 'cause you don't see him provoke as much, or he's matured and said, "Look, it's not working that way for me. Go the nice way."
Well, that's it. You can always attract more ants with honey than you can with salt, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it comes down at the end of the day. I mean, look, I'm the same. I've been guilty of it in the past when I first started out because I thought that's what you had to do. But it's good to see attitudes are changing, that, show a bit of respect, show a bit of love, as it were, investigating. Yeah. Look, if I don't want someone talking to my deceased grandmother like she's friggin', what did you call them before? A hooky naughty. Yes. So I cleaned that right up then too. But I mean that's great, guys. And look, and honestly, look, I just want to give your website another plug, which is www.easternstateparanormal.com.au. Please jump onto it, check it out, and if they're people, you do private investigations as well?
Yep, absolutely. And we do not charge a cent. We never will.
Yep.
Our process is if somebody contacts us with a query, we like to meet them for a coffee first so they get to know us, we get to know them. Then we'll walk through the house, and then once everyone's happy with everyone, then we'll lock down a date for an investigation.
And what have you found is that nowadays, because the paranormal is becoming more accepted out there, do you think more and more people think they may have a paranormal event happening when actually it's not, if you know what I mean? You think people are reading too much into it nowadays, or do you think there are some really true stuff out there?
Well, we've got one sort of underway now that just on the first walkthrough in the house, we got the grade 1 A-class EVPs. We had the guy saying, I'll just find the keys, and you hear this voice go, they're over there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's also very intelligent, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but we are happy. But I think sometimes it's the people have lost someone they love.
Yeah.
And they're finding things which they think is paranormal, and they think that it's their loved one trying to make contact with them, and they're hoping that's what it is. And no matter what we'd say, if we went in and did an investigation for those people and said, look, I'm sorry, it's just the wind causing that door to open and close, they won't believe us anyway, because that's their special bonds that they've got with the person they've lost that they love.
Well, that's right. It's a very emotional thing that people, and this is what new people of the field have to realise. If you are lucky enough, and look, it is a privilege to go investigate someone's home. They are trusting you to go into their residence, spend time with their families and in their homes to try and contact maybe a loved one or something like that. I mean, it's a privilege. It's not a joke. I mean, yeah. I know I joke around a lot on the show, but this is a bit different than walking into someone else's home and actually going through and doing an investigation. You've got to show the utmost respect. And if these people believe that their house is haunted, it doesn't matter if you find all the information tells them otherwise. They will believe what they want to believe, but sometimes they just need a bit of reassuring, or maybe sometimes they just need someone to talk to.
Yeah, and they just need to feel safe where they're living. That's probably one of the most important things, to help people feel safe within their own home.
Speaking of feeling safe in their own home, this brings up another quick question for you guys, because, I mean, I still investigate occasionally, but not as much as I'd like to anymore. But do you find that you see a lot of people now that sort of like demonology has sort of come more into the forefront? I mean, you do have legendary demonologists out there around the world. But do you find that some people are now claiming to have demons in their home and stuff like that, when you think it could be an overactive imagination? Or have you ever come across anything that has just left you going, this is not right?
Well, I mean, we haven't come across what we think is demon, so to speak. In my belief, I reckon that, like, I'm religious, I'm Catholic, but when it comes to investigating, I think when it comes down to it, I think that the spirit that is around, like I was talking about different energies, like a bad person in life is a bad energy in death. Mm-hmm. That's the only thing that I can come close to saying demon, but I've not come across a demon or anything like that.
Yeah, to me, a demon is a really negative energy that has sort of built up somewhere. And, sometimes you might need a specialist to get it out. We've been lucky enough not to come across anything like that. Mm-hmm. We have had people suggest that they've got a demon in the house.
Well, that's good to hear. It sounds like you guys have really got your head screwed on. I mean, it's good. I mean, hey, but like I said, I'm only the guy behind the mic, and I'm asking the questions and not telling the stories. But the stories you guys have been saying, they've been fantastic, and I'm surely the audience is listening to this and going, wow, this is incredible. But this is like a lot of other people's stories as well out there in the field. Yeah. Everyone has their own story to tell, and guys, you are doing an awesome job. Listen, we're about to call it quits tonight, and I personally, one more time, give us a website, and how do we contact you guys if we need anything sorted?
Okay, you can find us. We're quite active on Facebook. You look us up under Eastern State Paranormal. They wouldn't let us put it on as paranormal. It had to be two separate words.
So it's spelled sorry to interrupt there, and so it's P-A-R... A space normal.
Normal. That's only because Facebook won't let us put the word paranormal. Mm-hmm. One word. So you can find us on there. You can private message us. You can put words of support or words of abuse, whatever you like. We don't hide anything. We treat everyone with respect. All questions will be answered with dignity. As long as you ask them with dignity.
No, that's fair enough. No, look, I know that firsthand. I've been on investigations, and the homeowners, some do expect you to have all the answers before you're walking through the door.
Yeah, and we don't.
And you got nailed between the eyes. Oh, it's happened to me. It happens to most paranormal investigators. So, it's a two-way street. We show respect, but we expect respect back in return.
Yeah, and we're trying to learn as much as we can from other teams as well. We've been going to, travelling to Sydney, to Whisper, to see Craig, and he's been running workshops. They're wonderful. They've been doing such wonderful proactive things to help develop paranormal unity and the community. And
is that Mr. Powell?
Sorry?
Is that Mr. Powell?
That's Mr. Powell.
Yeah, Craig Powell. Yes, actually, speaking of Craig Powell, from Western Sydney Paranormal. You have to excuse me. I've had a really huge day at work today. My brain's just turned to jello. But Craig Powell, yes, he'll be coming on the show, and his team, 4 of the members, will be coming on the show next week. So that'll be really great to hear them and what they have happening. So we can contact you via the website, via Facebook. And what's your email address there, Anne?
info@easternstatesparanormal.com.au, I think it is.
Awesome.
Or you can send it to me personally, esp@damore.com.au, which is D-A-M for Mary, O-R-E.com.au.
Excellent. Now, guys, before we wrap up tonight's show, is there any words of wisdom you'd like to instill onto the world tonight?
Well, there's something that we're trying to do as a team, and that's to invite other paranormal teams who are visiting the area, because a lot of them do come to visit Maitland Jail and things like that. If you're in the area, contact us, and we'll try to sort of make a time to go out and show you our local hotspots. We'll bring coffee and biscuits. Ooh. We'll have a good night. Ask the ladies from I can't even say their name now. Feminine Spirit, which is Julie and Jenny. They came out with us. They gave us the call, and we had the best night. We had Lakes Paranormal come out with us with Nathan and Faye, and we're in talks with the Paranormal Society as well, with Sarah and Mike, to come out and play with us as well. So, all teams reach out to each other and look after each other and try and teach each other. It's the most important thing.
And that's wonderful to hear, guys. Look, I'm a big fan of that. Reaching out and touching somebody appropriately, and not some dark corner of the room. Hooker naughty. Oh, I'm not gonna. That's gonna be my favourite saying now. Hooker naughty. I love it. It's what people who listen to the show are gonna go walk around up and say, hey. It's sort of saying good day. It's like, hey, hooker naughty. Yeah, hey? It works for me. No, guys, absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for joining me on the Zombie tonight. Stay on the line and I'll do the wrap up. We'll have a bit of a chat afterwards, like I always do.
All right. Thanks for having us.
No worries. I hope it's been enjoyable. And please, to listeners out there, don't forget, take your time, visit the website, and also visit Ghost Shack, which I'll have the link underneath. Well worth checking out because, support your local business because this is a business and Robert's getting it out there is something we badly need in this country. So good on you, Robert. I'm really stoked to hear that you're doing that, mate. So I'd just like to say a few words now. Listen, thanks again, guys. Now, you have been listening to the best in Australian pop culture. Oh, God, I am really bad tonight. You can have a giggle again if you want. It's all right. Just have a laugh. My expense. You're listening to the best in Australian paranormal pop culture radio, The Naked Zombie. I am your host, Brad Scott. And don't forget to buy the app. The iPhone app is coming out next week or so. We're still waiting for license agreement to come through. And you have a good night, have a safe night, and we should be up again on Thursday night. I'm having a special guest come in, and of course the Sunday night show as well, where I'll have Andrew and hopefully Wadsy in the studio talk about international paranormal news that drives most people to sleep. So have a good night, everybody. Have a safe night, and I will speak to you all next time.